I'm Mark Kirkpatrick, and this is Kirk Art Studio. I'm a watercolor artist, and I'm going to be taking you through a project called The Stairs of Queen Anne. I'll be producing a series of videos that go step by step through the process. I'm planning to do a painting very similar to the composition you see here in this photo, which was one of my many resource photos that I took on a day in Seattle investigating these hidden stairways on Queen Anne with Kathleen. We spent an entire day and we didn't hit them all, and this was really a spectacular one. And there's a lot of depth in this. You can look up this sidewalk and see to the next level. You're actually looking up a hill slightly here. This is a view of the gate from out in the street. You can see the old brick in the street. It gives you the cobblestone. You can give you an idea of how old that street is. And on the left, you can see the stairway heading down to the street below. And this is looking back up. This shows the brickwork, which is really impressive. It may have been redone since it was first completed in probably early 1900s, but it certainly is beautiful, and there's a lot of color in it. Bricks are just not brick red. They're a little bit of everything. Here's a view of the gate between the two brick pillars. It's very ornate, lovely design. It looks a little Art Nouveau. So that's the inspiration for my idea. Take a look at the photo and try to work out where you think eye level is. It's important to know where eye level is so that we can establish our horizon line and structure our drawing accordingly. So where's eye level? Well, it would appear to me that it's about here, because all things above that line I seem to be looking slightly up at, and everything below that line I seem to be looking down at. And that then is where my eyes are level with the elements that are in this scene. So I can draw a level line through that, and that's my horizon line. If we were out on the ocean, of course, it'd be easy. But when you have a scene like this with lots of components and you can't really see into the distance that far, you need to find out where that is going to occur. Where is that horizon line? Where is our eye level? So along this horizon line, there's always going to be a vanishing point that's going to be used to draw anything that's a level horizontal line in the composition. And there's a lot in this one. All of the lines that are on the top of the wall, they're level. All of the bricks are level, and it works its way all the way down. The cross members in the gate, the bottom of the gate, the concrete in many places, level, horizontal. So to use to make life easier, we can use the vanishing point, and I'll show you how you find it. What I can do is take a pair of lines that occur within the drawing and see where they cross. So, like, for example, here's a cross member of the gate. Now if I extend a line from that cross member to the horizon line, or where our eye level is, and we just see where that intersects, it's going to be right here. And then if I find another line that's parallel to it, such as this one at the top of the gate, and I just follow that down and see where that crosses my horizon line, it's going to give me my vanishing point. Where those two lines cross, there's a point. Now you're going to find that all of these lines for the top of the wall and virtually everything that's horizontal and level in this drawing. As you can see, as we come down, all of them are inclined toward that point. Now when we get below our eye level, it tends to flatten out when you get to eye level. When you're at eye level, it's very flat. Everything is flat. Now we're going to go below eye level a little bit, and we start to angle in a different way. We start to go back up. So there's the bottom of the gate, and it's slight incline. And the further we go, the more incline there is. There's one step, here's another step. So that's the beauty of using a vanishing point. It helps you set up your perspective, and that's something that you want to get right, because if you don't have your perspective right, it just gives you a real uneasy feeling, and people can sense that there's something fundamentally wrong with the foundation of your work. All right, here is a larger drawing on my watercolor paper, and you can see that there's a lot of detail here in the foreground because the gate is very complicated, and I felt it would help me to have some more detailed drawing there when I'm painting, because many of these pencil lines are going to disappear because of the gate's fairly dark. I don't think they're going to interfere with the colors, and they shouldn't affect the values of the paint. So I can leave those relatively dark, and that will help me as I'm painting in that very complex portion of the work. As we go into the background, there'll be less and less detail, because detail, of course, diminishes with distance. And the organic elements here, the trees and all the foliage and so forth, require very little drawing, and I keep it very light. And I just have some trunks drawn in. Now the reason this is very light and may even be difficult to pick up by the camera is I don't want the pencil to interfere with the paint. These are going to be light washes and overlays up here, and I don't want to be seeing my pencil line, and I don't want to have to work to get it out of there. I don't want to erase aggressively, because that can mess up the paper, so I have to be kind of careful. And you just got to remember the watercolor paper will accept any kind of a mark, and you just don't want to distress the paper because it'll do things to your color. So you keep it as smooth and pristine as you can, and hopefully you don't have any issue with putting marks on it that will cause you headaches later on. So I've expanded a little bit on my sketch, and I've added a little bit of width here and even a little bit of width on this side. I'm going to be including a little bit of the street, a little bit of a house that's way off in the distance, and I've got some of the step sketched in at the bottom, but there's not much detail there. It's going to be very rough concrete, and it's going to be done with a lot of dry brush overlays. I'm going to take you through step by step how I paint this, and we're going to show you next a little study I did for color and also technique. So here's a little study that I've been doing, and if you look at all this white area that looks like foliage, it's the result of having applied masking fluid. And the masking fluid is the first step after completion of the drawing, and once it's applied, it's allowed to dry. And then what I can do is, for the background area, the sky color here, I can just put a big wash across the entire surface, and I don't have to worry about it working its way into these areas that I have protected. The benefit is that I have white paper to work on when my wash is dried. Otherwise, I'd be painting around all of my foliage with my sky color, and that generally is nightmarish, and it doesn't really look accurate. So I prefer this method, and I've worked out some of the colors of the trunk of the tree. I've worked on these capitals here that go on top of these pillars, but for the most part, I was just experimenting with the masking fluid and see what kind of result I got from that, and I'm pretty pleased, and I think that's the way I'm going to approach this. I like being able to do my wash and have it look continuous so that it does push it back into the background, into the distance. It looks like it's behind everything else. If you apply it as a last step, it's going to look like it's going to flatten out your work. It's going to lose some of its depth. It will appear to be more on the surface. So you want it to look like it's in the distance, and you need to apply it right away, right at the start of your painting. So that's probably job one.